Hey, this is Emmeline, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
Congratulations with the new music video. I loved the cinematography for this video, and I feel like it went perfectly with your latest single. So can you talk to me a little bit about like the creative process of the music video for This Is How I Learned to Say No, as well as, how much of an input did you have for this creative?
Thank you so much. I'm glad you liked it. I really wanted this video to be just sort of a piece to introduce myself, what I look like, and really focus in on almost more simplicity, even though I am such a conceptual person, and I think that comes across with my lyrics. I really wanted there to just be some visuals that let that stand alone. And it was such a explosive reaction that I had on TikTok that the process of getting together the video was actually pretty quick. But it was super collaborative. Joelle, the director, was amazing, and working with mostly women and non-binary crew was really amazing. That cinematographer was honestly one of my favorites I've ever worked with, and it was really fun to just sort of bring the lyrics alive to such a natural setting, on a beach.
Now, would you say you had the idea of this video as you were writing the song from the very beginning?
I usually do. For this one, I had just colors in my head, and I didn't have really anything super specific, because I think that the lyrics really took the lead on that. So that's kind of why I wanted to keep it so simplistic. And just even in costuming choices, show a bit of an emotional growth there, but yeah, keeping it super focused. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the writing process of this track. From my perspective, it feels like this song pretty much just wrote itself. You were in a moment and it just kind of flowed out of you. What was that process like in reality? And, what kind of struggles did you find yourself having during the writing process of this song?
Yeah. So this song I wrote immediately after my music got any type of attention. So people had just found out who I was. I was in the middle of going viral. And my manager set me up with this producer, David, and we had met for the first time that day when I wrote this. So I wrote it with three other people, and Orion, David, and Anna, and literally immediately it was just this realm that we went into. I think it took us 10 hours to write this song, and for me, I sometimes will go in, if it's new people, it'll be a 5 hour situation, but we were all just crying. And I had such an intense week, and I kind of decided that for myself I would learn to set boundaries for people in my personal life, which I think kind of hand in hand, I felt like I had a choice while stepping into the new career. I wanted to either let myself get pushed around or set those boundaries, and yeah, I kind of walked in there being I'm ready to cut off negative people, and I'm ready to accept this version of myself. And I just kind of walked in with a storm, and cried and laughed, and just with three strangers, and we made this song, and it's super narrative, and it's very obviously vulnerable and specific to my life. I never knew that it would actually come out, because it just felt like therapy at the time. But it was so clear that people really wanted it when I uploaded it online, and that's really why I wanted to do a video too, because it was people really needed this to hug them, and and to keep learning to heal and be there for yourself.
Yeah, this song is very empowering, but at the same time, it's a lot of vulnerability coming out of you, and being able to do that with a whole new crew of people that you're collaborating with in the writing process. Did you find it difficult to open up with certain lyrics that you had written for the song, or was it from beginning to end, it just felt natural, even working with these new talented co-writers?
That can often be a struggle, I would say, especially right now where I'm able to get in the room with new writers, and I'm a super involved in every aspect of my creative. Um, and so it really is like sort of my choice how much I want to share or not. But I felt really at ease with these people, and like I remember when I met David. Um, so weird. He came outside of his house, and I had parked a few streets away, and we instantly saw each other and started like slow motion running to each other, and like did like a slow motion hug, and we were like, so nice to meet you. And I was like, wow, that was really weird. I feel like we're gonna make some cool art together. Like we're gonna be besties, aren't we? But yeah, that's like how we met. And so instantly I was like, okay, like the barrier is broken. That was so weird. I can say anything.
Now, you did mention that this song, you wrote it during that wave you had of the newfound success that you had with your previous music, or going viral. So seeing the success of a song like Flowers and Sex and coming into a new track, like that must be scary at the same time, just because you don't want to do anything less than, but you also like want to try new things at the same time because you're discovering yourself as an artist. So did you have those kind of mindsets during this process?
Yeah, a little bit, although I didn't think about that until recently because I just write like all the time. Like I'm just constantly like pouring, ideas out that like and your work changes as your life changes, and being able to like accept that and accept that like everything is just like a moment in time, I think is a comforting thing as an artist, because obviously you want to live up to everything, but like just thinking of everything as its own moment and as its own like message is really important to me, and realizing that like I'm such a multifaceted human that like it's just exciting that I can even explore other parts and show people more depth. So I think that definitely is something that in the past I have um struggled with, but I didn't even feel that when Flowers dropped. I was like, yes, this deserves its moment. And and especially because I think the messages are so genuinely like me, like it was like, cool, this is just like a part of the story that I'm gonna create something. It's just a part of the bigger story.
When you're working on new material, as you kind of mentioned, a part of a bigger story, like are you already having like a mindset of like, okay, now it's time to like do a full body of work? Like, is that even in your head right now, or are you just looking forward to doing more and more singles before you can even consider a body of work?
I'm always thinking about a body of work, but so much of it depends on like the reaction of TikTok, which is like it's like a live planning. Like I get to just kind of see what the audience wants, which is actually amazing. Um but I am like constantly like plotting in my head, and even like little lyrics like I want to like connect to other songs, even songs that don't end up coming out. Like I'm always like thinking of how to connect everything, and it's like this one, Learn to Say No, what I said earlier, I wrote it as therapy. So when it went on TikTok, I was like, oh, I guess like this, this will be a thing now. And so leaving that power to the audience is such an interesting thing. But I kind of love it because it really does feel like it's like a team. Like the fans really are as much a part of like the process of release, if not more so than myself, because it just makes sense. Like I'm making it for me, I'm making it for them, and so they kind of determine the project truly.
Going back to the music video for the song, what would you say was like the biggest challenge for you?
I would say sort of taking away narrative, and because I am such a like plot driven person, um but I think that like discussing with my team, realizing like how important it was to like really just like introduce myself for this one. But I have like, I always have like a million ideas, and but I think, sort of like deciding on what like how simple or how complex I wanted to go um was definitely like, I don't know, I could have gone two ways with it. Um, but I would say actually the most challenging thing was being in the water in metal because it was like October in LA, which like yes, it's LA, but the water is freezing. And that beginning shot was the last shot we did of the day. It was like sunset, and I was like shaking, like, but I'll always I'll always risk like doing crazy things for the end product. But yeah, that was freezing.
I was wondering if that was actual metal or not, because some of the scenes where you're ripping stuff off you, I'm just like, if that's real metal, that must really hurt.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, straight on my skin. And I also am like such a like I just run cold. Like I do, I don't even go in the water in the summer because I'm always like, well, I'll get hotter before I do it. So yeah, that was shocking with me.
Now, I love that you had the idea of an armor instead of just, anybody else would have thought of just chains, for example. What really inspired the armor for you? Was this a visual that you had during your writing process, or is this something that you kind of did some research before you kind of came to the conclusion of having an armor?
Yeah, I think it all stemmed sort of from the cover art. And I was working with Katie McIntyre, who did the CG, and we like creative directed that. We were referencing Joan of Arc, and I also think there's such a like it's just cool also to see a woman wearing armor, because it wasn't something that you would see all the time. And um yeah, I think especially with the sort of removing of some of the pieces, there was me like that was the process of me sort of like wanting to reconnect with my vulnerability, and sort of be comfortable taking off a bit of the armor and the guard that I had up. But yeah, it definitely like symbolized the strength. And I also think like reflection is really cool, because a lot of my music is not only like vain, but also like unapologetically confident, I guess, but also like reflective in itself. So I think there's definitely going to be a lot of like visuals with silver, and I just love the color silver. So, or I guess that's not really color, but I love silver.
Well, it sounds like you already have an idea, like an identity for a body of work. If you already have like styles and certain colors and certain themes that you are looking forward to working with.
Yeah, I love so many things that it's definitely hard, I think, to sort of run with anything. Um, but I definitely think that whatever I do is like always very bold. All the colors, they either like reflect the emotion or the muse that I wrote something about. Oftentimes I'll like make the cover art like the favorite color of someone that inspired it. And I think like as an artist, I'm just a bit of a sponge to like the people that I encounter, and that's why I'm a writer. But yeah, I think that everything will be just like something very on the nose. And I think it's important like to think about the through line and the future, and just like always be daydreaming, and always like be excited about being always being excited about daydreaming.
Now you have this amazing relationship with your TikTok audience, and I'm curious, like if you feel like they had a major role in your artist development process.
Yeah, I mean, I for years was working on my music in like my room, and I've made so many albums that nobody's heard, because I'm a perfectionist, and they really let me put my guard down. And it's been the most beautiful thing to think of it a little bit less seriously, and see that like every different thing has like a piece for so many different people. um and yeah, I mean, they've just been like this encouragement that like I haven't had because of a lot of like just working alone. And it is like the most motivating thing. And so I think like I will open my TikTok and see how like one specific thing impacted someone, and be like, you know what? Yeah, like I'm gonna go like develop this idea and make another work of art. Even This Is How I Learned to Say No, when I released that, I mean, I think artistically, but also personally, they helped develop me, because like some of the comments were, oh my God, like this really like made me want to cut off my ex. And I was like, you know what? Like I should do that too, man. But yeah, I mean, even that song, I uploaded it to TikTok with the incorrect lyrics. I originally wrote the lyrics as learned to say, which was past tense. And then there were so many people being like, yeah, like it's a constant learning process. And for me, like it is too. Um, but I like went back in and I put it in, I changed the tense because I was like, this is not just for me now. This is for them. Like this is for everyone wants to continue to learn, because it's not just something that like happens and it's easy forever. Um, so yeah.
The fact that they have impacted you and helped you kind of discover your artist process or project, um, moving forward, like what can your audience look forward to? Any new material that you have in mind that you've been working on?
Yeah, well, similarly, I kind of threw up a song that was very therapeutic for me called What It Means to Be a Girl a few weeks ago, and they blew that one up, and so I'm getting it out before the year ends. I'm releasing that on Friday. And I'm super excited for that one. It's just like I think really important, and I don't know why I keep on being shocked that all the like very deep songs do really well, because I guess that makes sense. But yeah, I'm really excited to just like be able to give that to them. And again, it was like they were the ones who encouraged me to release it. So yeah, and then I am working on a body of work, which I will be putting out in 2022.
Now, with this new song, just by the title alone, I mean, it sounds like you're gonna dig even deeper in your vulnerability levels. So, what was that writing process like for you? Was that another song like this one that flowed out naturally, or did you find yourself struggling a little more because you were opening up a little more?
Yeah, this was a similar process with people I had never worked with before, and this writer Mags, you know, I don't get to work with a lot of women, so it's interesting whenever I do get to work with women. One of the first conversations you have is just sort of that like kinship, and just being like, oh, like, yeah, you know, we've all had these experiences in the music industry and outside of the music industry. And it's such a interesting like way to break the ice often when you work with women, but it's also like really exciting because it's like, oh my god, we get to work with each other, and I intend on working with a lot more women in the future. But yeah, so we just, you know, started talking about some overarching themes, and um, it was really hard to write because I think it's one of those songs where like it can almost, you have to ride the fine line of like being preachy and just, you know, and like nobody wants to be preached at. So like my goal is just to like plant seeds and just put my experience there and like let anyone take it for what it is. So we meticulously worked out the balance between like stating facts and then stating feelings, and having that push and pull there. So it wasn't like, I don't know, sometimes there's like a fine line in music between like empowering and cringy, I think. And that was just, you know, I was being very meticulous about making sure that it was just a piece that, you know, was just stating facts and stating um whatever it was, and also doing it with my like, you know, sort of ironic, crude attitude at the same time. Um and like just really like putting a lot of the sarcasm in there was really important to me. But yeah, I mean, that it's also so cool to see. Even some of my favorite comments on the video are men being like, wow, I like never thought about like how women sometimes have to like fake laugh to protect themselves in situations. And I was like, wow, like that's so cool that just, you know, you can put that in a piece of art and like it can do its thing. And that's, you know, that's really my purpose. So
That's cool. During this entire process, I guess to close us out, like during this entire process, what did you feel you learned about yourself? Whether it's like you personally or you as an artist.
the process of what it means to be a girl, or the process of the artist project.
The artist project.
Um, I learned that truly you can manifest the version of yourself that you want. Um, a lot of the songs, such as Flowers and Sex, I wrote because I didn't feel like I was there yet. And then it became my identity when I just started living as it. And I was like, you know what? The only way to be a rock star is to be a rock star. So here we are.
It sounds so simple, but I feel like it was like very mind blown at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking the time to catch up with me, and congratulations with your success so far. I am super excited for more material from you, and looking forward to doing this again soon.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.